Have you ever been in a rabbit hole so deep you end up hearing Gordon Ramsay's mother talk about his wife's cooking?
Yes, that's happened to me.
You might be.
A grapehead.
Yeah, that's a Jeff Foxworthy joke, Marcus.
I mean, you're from Eastern Tennessee, so you should relate heavily to most Foxworthy jokes and commentary.
Well, I've heard them.
I mean,
Does that count?
I mean, a lot of what he says is representative of my family.
I'm not
so
saying.
I feel like it should be representative of all of our families because we are all Southern-bred men.
I'm a real boy.
Well, there was a little while I was keto and I didn't have any at all, so I don't know.
Wrong kind of bread. There's no A. It's just one E, one singular E.
Oh, okay, got you.
I was a Ralphie May man myself. Rest in peace, you beautiful bastard.
I hope he's not dead.
Oh, he's
yeah.
very
Just
dead.
killed him.
He's very dead.
Yeah, Ralphie May's definitely dead.
He is.
I don't know.
Oh, he is.
You haven't heard the conspiracy?
It's Ralphie may or may not be dead.
Got him.
Hey everybody, I'm Dane Holland, and this looks like a job for Physician Weird.
I'm Austin Shazam Pfeiffer, and I'm going to drag you right into this topic.
I'm Marcus, the Starship Architect, known as I'm Electric Man.
I'm Austin Tiny Zent, and we're going to infinity and beyond, but just slightly.
Both?
Just slightly.
Well, I hope somewhere between infinity and beyond, you stop to listen to Nerd to the Grapevine, the podcast where four best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. And what's currently going on in nerd culture is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, the newest movie to come out, actually, technically yesterday of the day that we're recording, but it's brand new. And I think everybody's going to end up talking about it. I've stayed away from as much social media and Reddit threads involving information about it because, as many of you listeners know, at least me and Austin are trailer-free champions, so I haven't seen anything to do with the movie, and I watched it today. It's amazing, but I want to get into Doctor Strange as a character because some of you may be like seeing a bunch of stuff about the movie and thinking, well, I haven't seen the first one, and now I kind of want to watch this one, so who is this character? And maybe some people that already like the character from the movies may not know some information about him. He was created by Steve Ditko and Stan Lee. In 1963, he was created in Strange Tales number 110, and he didn't get a self-titled book until 1968.
Did Stan Lee get to cameo in the first Doctor Strange? Was he still with us at that point?
No.
I don't remember.
Just a curious thought. I don't know.
Was
Go
he
ahead.
not?
I don't believe so.
No, I don't think
No?
he was.
Do some Googling on that.
Okay.
As you just heard, Strange Tales being the comic he first appeared in, that's where his name comes from, because that's the book they thought would be the best for this character, and they decided to throw him in there, and that's kind of a lazy way of naming him, but then again, it works, because he deals in strange magics that no one understands. No one understanding all the way to the point of even Stan Lee, because there are artifacts and different spells and things that he uses for magic. He doesn't just like be able to just stand there and make something levitate with his mind. You know, he needs to use his hands. He needs to use different artifacts to be able to do these different spells and stuff.
To put it in D&D terms, he uses an arcane focus.
Bingo.
Doctor Strange did feature Stan Lee. He was one of the passengers on the bus.
Awesome.
I was thinking so.
It's really cool.
Mr. Strange was a name that they were considering giving him, but there was already Mr. Fantastic. So they're like, we don't need a couple Misters right now. But there was already a villain named Doctor Strange before him, but it was a character that hadn't appeared very often at all. And Stan Lee was like, oh, well, like we're going to do this and hopefully people won't get confused. Like, you know, if they had some faith in this character that Ditko had written up, because I think he had written like 5 pages of the Doctor Strange first kind of story, and Stan Lee was just taken by it. He was like, yes, run it.
Cool.
The art style in Doctor Strange was very psychedelic and weird, which was a much different vibe from many of the other, especially superhero comics that were out. And Strange Tales is a really good comic to throw that into it because, I mean, in the title, it says it's strange. So it's not going to throw people way off if they open it up and all of a sudden it looks like they're tripping, which is funny because a lot of college students really clung to Doctor Strange and his comics because of this, because very experimental with things like mushrooms and acid and stuff like this during that time.
Yep.
And many people believed that the artists and the writers were also tripping whenever they were writing these comics because they were so weird and so trippy that they're like, there's no way that a sober mind can come up with this. But those working at Marvel were like, no, not that I know of. Like that was the main answer. You know, the main guy they had talked to about it. He's like, I don't. And as far as I know, nobody else is doing it either.
Of course they're going to say
We know what that means.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're
Who's
not going to admit to it.
that?
The spells and magical artifacts that I mentioned before, a lot of them are based on established mythological beings, a lot of the names of the stuff. But Stanley, it was like, he has no idea like why he's using that name. Let's just say he looked through some mythology book and he found a really cool word like the Eye of
Agamotto.
Osimoto, yeah.
Huh?
And so he sees this cool name in a mythology book and he's just like, yeah, that would be awesome for, you know, this thing that has to do with time travel or, you know, like messing with time. And people are sitting there trying to come up with how, like, what's the deeper meaning behind the word that's been used for either this spell or this artifact. And Stanley's like, no, don't do that because it's just a really cool word. And I love that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I love when it's just on this. And that's the kind of guy Stanley was too. Like he was just pure, this brings me joy to do this with this comic book. So I'm going to do it because I think everybody reading it is also feeling that same way. And that's, I think, why he was so successful because the passion he put into it like that really showed and people mirrored that passion.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to read what he did. Just a couple of neat facts just about him, just because, I mean, that's basically all you need to know off the bat of Doctor Strange is that he's a really cool wizard man that he used to be a physician, like he was a surgeon, a really good surgeon. Then he had an accident to where his hands were messed up all beyond repair. And so he goes to find mystical ways of fixing them and ends up becoming a sorcerer. So there you go. That's all you really need to know about him. So now some neat stuff that's happened with him. There was a storyline that was featuring a sorcerer called Sisneg, which is Genesis spelled backwards. And this character was going throughout history until they reached the beginning of the universe and they became powerful enough to recreate existence. But in the storyline, Stan Lee ordered a retraction in it to make sure that people knew that Sisneg was not God, but he was a god. Because he was like, I'm going to get a lot of like hate on this. Like, because people are going to be like, what do you think this is like the god? And he's like, no. And he actually published that retraction. So Sisneg's creators of that issue of the comic, they wrote a fake letter from a fictitious minister praising the story and mailed it to Marvel from Texas. And Marvel had no idea that the letter had been printed by them, and they retracted their retraction because of this fake letter written from a fake pastor saying that it's cool.
So just because one guy said it, then
exactly, they were like, "Well, this one is saying that it's okay, so we don't have to say it's not." They could be like, "Well, it could be and it could not be."
Right.
So I thought that was just so cool that the creators were like, "We're just going to trick you guys into saying, it is what we want it to be."
Got him.
He's on the cover. He being Doctor Strange, he's on the cover of Pink Floyd's "A Saucer Full of Secrets" album. It's actually from a specific panel of an issue, and it's kind of hidden within that album art, which is really neat. And he's also referenced in their song called Cymbeline. Is it called Cymbeline or Cymbeline? I don't know. Cymbaline.
Sure.
I don't know. I didn't know Pink myself. But it was on the album More. So Pink Floyd loved them some Doctor Strange, and they were probably just like those college kids.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like acknowledging the counterculture at the time.
Oh, exactly.
And so they kind of latched onto it.
Yeah. Well, in Doctor Strange, like as the character and also the style, kind of predicted a love for that style of art as well. Like it kind of predated the boom of that style of art, that trippy kind of realism and kind of stuff, to where people were really getting into it. It was neat of how I was seeing that he kind of brought that on. Like, a lot of people jumped on that train because of Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Like, that's how popular his book was with at least that crowd. There was actually already a Doctor Strange movie, and I had no idea.
Ugh.
It was a TV movie,
No.
and it was in 1978. And I didn't watch it because it's probably really bad, because there's probably a reason I've never heard of it, right?
Well, it's just like the late '80s Captain America movie, or the late '80s Punisher movie. Like, there's a lot of
I don't remember those at
there's
all.
a lot of these late '80s and '70s Marvel movies that people just swept under the rug. Like, these never happened. They were bad. They were very bad. Captain America's shield, when it was flying through the air, had a visible wobble, and it also did not spin. It was just going.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was great. Like, he would throw it, and then just the bad.
Well, see, we don't have to deal with Peter Hooton's portrayal of Doctor Strange, because we get Benardom Cumberbatch as our Doctor Strange. And what's funny is there's even a comic canon thing involving Benardom Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. And that is it's called Gwenpool, is a character in the Marvel Universe. She's actually from, quote unquote, like our world, like the world where superheroes are just in comics and in movies and stuff. Like, they don't actually exist. But she gets transported to that world, 616, I think, or something with this Doctor Strange, or some number. And so, in order for her to be able to exist there, she has to get a social security number, a birth certificate, all this stuff. So Doctor Strange goes with her back to, quote unquote, our world to get a fake one made up to take back with her. And they see that Benedict Cumberbatch, that's his real name. There we go. I got it right.
Yes.
Yeah. They see that he has been cast to play Doctor Strange. And so Doctor Strange sees that in that world, and he's like, I could see that. So he acknowledges it. He's like, yeah, I could totally see him playing me.
The character himself gave his stamp of approval.
Yes, in
on his
comics.
own actor.
How cool is that?
That's so cool.
That's awesome. And so in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Benedict Cumberbatch has been Doctor Strange in the Doctor Strange self-titled movie in 2016, Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, the What If series, the animated series on Disney Plus, and Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness, which just came out this weekend.
I've only seen one of these.
Yes, and I wanted to get into real quick what you need to see before seeing this movie, considering like me and Austin, both of us have seen it already, so I can really stick to this. The first Doctor Strange, absolutely. Please watch that before
I've seen that one.
Good. So is Tiny.
Yes.
But
It's been a minute, though.
that's a miracle, the fact that both of you have seen a movie together. Like, both
I
of you have
mean,
seen it.
we didn't see it together.
Yes,
Right,
we
right,
did.
right. In
Separately.
spirit.
Yes,
In
we
spirit.
did.
Did we? Where was I?
Just
Wait.
keep going,
Oh,
Dane.
yeah.
Just
Was
keep
you the-
going.
was you
It's
the
fine.
little
I don't
spoon?
remember it
He's
either.
offended you. I think the Avengers, I don't know if that's completely necessary.
The problem with that is the big heel in the movie is focused on the events that took place in Infinity War and Endgame.
That's true. Well, anyway, go ahead and watch the Avenger. Well, you need to anyway. For Infinity War and Endgame, go ahead and watch those. Spider-Man No Way Home, probably not super necessary, but it's just neat having him there, like showing his reactions with Spider-Man, because he's not really had that before. And you need to see What If for sure. Watch the What If series on Disney Plus, and WandaVision is a must as well. So that's why I'm thinking Avengers and Spider-Man No Way Home, not as crucial. If you have to watch some of these and not all of them, make it Doctor Strange 1, What If, and WandaVision.
I just want to know one thing. Why are movies now like college courses? You know, we have to have all these prereqs in order to watch a movie. I can understand if it's like, you know, a trilogy like Lord of the Rings. Obviously, you're going to watch Fellowship before you watch any of the others. Why do I have to watch 17 TV shows, 43 other movies, just to watch a sequel to a movie that was like 10 years ago?
Because comic books, because what they do to sell more comic books is to have crossover events happening in other characters' books to make a full, like a deeper, wider story. So it gets you to buy a comic that you wouldn't normally buy because their story is continuing in that. So on the cover, they'll even say like it's a part of this certain title that is going to end up being a graphic novel. So they'll end up putting it all in one book that you can eventually get. But by that time, you're behind the times if you're trying to keep up with the character currently. So it's already a practice in comics. So they're taking it and moving it on to the movies as well.
I buy obscure comics, so I don't know what to tell you. Like, I come up with one, Chicken Devil. It's pretty awesome.
Chicken Devil?
Chicken Devil. I'm bringing let y'all check it out. It's pretty great.
I'll have to get into that sometime.
And also the thing about the movie's releases and the way that you described them, that's coming from a guy that's had enough time to probably watch these movies. He's just forgotten about it.
See, I've come to a realization, like just now, in amongst talking about this and how you have to have a PhD in the cinematic universes to watch other
It's
superhero
called
movies.
Doctor Strange for a reason.
I know. I hate superhero movies now. Is that okay?
That's fine. You don't
Is that
have to
okay?
enjoy them.
I like it when I watch them, but I don't want to have to watch 47 other ones just to watch the sequel to a one.
I think I'm sitting right in the middle of the group here because I'm kind of with you that there's some I'm just not that interested in, and I don't really just have time to watch them.
Yeah,
because I want to watch other stuff, but I still keep up with it. Like like every now and then I will binge some stuff. Like, I don't know. To me, it's interesting because it's just an extension of the mythology of our time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is hard to keep up with, and I struggle to keep up with it as well.
Frankly, some of them are terrible, like Thor: Dark Shade of the Sun Moon or whatever the second one is.
Dark World.
Yeah. The first one was bad. The second one was bad. I'm not even going to watch Ragnarok.
Ragnarok's incredible because it's amazing.
Ragnarok is incredible. It's a completely different tone than the other two are.
I like the first one better.
Yeah, the second one is notably bad.
But I do get the point of there's too much because I am like getting to the point to where it's tiring because there's so much of it. But I think my love of superheroes is like it overtakes that like exhaustion, I think.
Yeah.
To a certain point. I mean, it took me forever to watch Hawkeye, the TV show, and I'm upset that it did because if I would have watched it back when it came out, the setting of the show was like seasonally, I believe it was on like it was the same as in our world, like around Christmas time. So I probably would have enjoyed it even more, like watching Christmas time happen in the show while it's happening around me. But I still enjoyed it even watching it later. But that's another one that I was just like, I don't really care, but I kind of do want to see it because it's a superhero show. But also have FOMO when it comes to the superhero stuff too. Like I don't want to be left out. Like that's fear of missing out.
Okay, I was about to ask what the heck that was.
FOMO is fear of missing out. And I don't have that with a lot of things, but when it comes to superheroes, it does because I've got a nerd podcast. I've kind of set myself up to need to know this kind of stuff.
Yep.
Because I don't want people to ask me a bunch of questions and me like completely swing and miss. And me
we
go,
have
like,
never claimed to be experts on this stuff, guys.
No, we're not.
We are not experts.
We're not
I'm
experts.
an expert on everything
We're just
I've ever talked about.
We're just nerds. That's
Exactly.
all.
And the thing about the movies also, they are forever long as far as the list goes. But the dedication of somebody that's gotten and watched all of these, it kind of drives you to continue that pace as well. Because you it's not even like a fear of missing out for me. It's like my duty. I feel like it's my duty to finish what I've started, and I'm going to continue watching them. And I'm going to keep watching these movies until their storylines are finished.
Which, as long as they're making this much money, they will never be finished. They have so many they have so much source material.
Yeah.
Through all the comics that have been written.
Well, that's not to mention like alternate realities and blah 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 blah, which they're busted the multiverse. That was a bad one,
That's
dude.
a bad one.
Daddy.
You deserve that.
Daddy.
You deserve it.
You deserve everything you just
They've
got.
blown the multiverse up. I can't say that word.
They blurred the multiverse up.
Oh no, that hurt.
The Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse. I went and saw the multiverse.
Note to self: don't drink water when Marcus is trying to say multiverse.
Oh.
Go on, I can't talk anymore. Do your topic. Do your thing.
Something else too that you need to, in my opinion, watch before you go and see Multiverse of Madness, because I don't feel like this is a spoiler as well, but it's not your typical Marvel movie. There was a whole lot more scary. There was a whole lot more, there's a little bit more humor than you've originally seen with Doctor Strange. And I think a lot of that has to do a little bit with the director that directed that movie. And some of his previous works actually, I think, were very, inspired. This stuff was, a lot of his work, was inspired by his original stuff. And I'm talking about Sam Raimi. And Sam Raimi did a series called The Evil Dead. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever seen these movies.
I've saw part of a TV show.
Ash versus the Evil Dead?
Yes, I saw like a couple episodes of that.
So that was a show, not a movie? Ash versus
Yeah,
Evil Dead?
I think it's the sequel to the movies.
Yeah.
It is it is the, in movie theory, like canon, it would be the fourth movie.
Okay.
Involving that same character, which is his name is Ash, played by Bruce Campbell.
Okay.
And Bruce Campbell is a recurring actor also in a lot of Sam Raimi movies. So if you've ever, you've seen the original Spider-Man movie, I'm talking like Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire 1, 2, and 3,
The best ones.
Sam Raimi movies. Bruce Campbell is a main side character. I don't know if that makes any sense, but he's just a spotlighted character in the movies. So like Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi's relationship goes way back, just because this originally started back in 1981 when they first started working together. And
Who's Bruce Campbell play?
Bruce Campbell plays the announcer at the wrestling match that names him Spider-Man.
Okay.
He's like, no, it's the human spider. Please welcome Spider-Man.
Oh, I didn't realize that was Bruce Campbell.
That's Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell's also in the, I believe it's the second movie where Peter is waiting in the restaurant to have to propose to MJ. But he's the Bruce Campbell's the violin, like the what's his name? What's that name? The host or whatever it is.
The maitre d'.
Maitre d'. There we go. He's like directing the people to go play music, and then he's like, no, shooing them away. That guy. That's Bruce Campbell as well. Same guy.
How cool.
So I mean, and Bruce Campbell, he made a cameo in the. Not really a cameo. He played a part in Multiverse of Madness. That's not spoiling a damn thing. Yeah. But if you've never seen the Evil Dead series, you kind of won't get his actions in the movie. And so the Evil Dead series, I'm going to read you a little bit about it, because it's still going on to like this year. They're making a new one called Evil Dead Rises. So the film series started in 1981 with The Evil Dead. Then 1987, you had Evil Dead 2. Then you had Army of Darkness come out in 1992, which was the third part of that trilogy. Then they had a reboot of it in 2013, which was just called Evil Dead. But it turns out it wasn't even a reboot. It was actually kind of like made to look like a reboot, but it was a continuation within the story of another group of people that this same kind of incident happened to. They just didn't handle it as well. And then, oh man, it's trippy. It's a story within a story kind of thing, and it's
we talked about that last week.
We've done that.
I know,
before.
but it was just it was very cool the way it was executed. And then of course there was the television series Ash versus the Evil Dead.
So what I'm assuming zombies.
It is based off of demonic possession and off of other things that are caused by the powers of the darkness, which come from the Book of the Dead, wrapped in human flesh and inked in, I said flesh with a T in the end
with
of
a
it.
T, yeah, flesh.
Small.
Like not even past tense flesh.
Yeah, Daddy.
So
Gracias.
the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, wrapped in human flesh, inked in human blood. It's the Book of the Dead.
That's scary.
No.
I don't like that.
Just real quick question. Like, from the little bit I've seen based on the TV show, is this supposed to be more comedic, or is it supposed to be more of a serious movie-going experience?
It is a very odd style of slapstick horror. So, I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, when Bruce Campbell's character Ash is having to actually, he's got like he's only been possessed in part of his body, so like his hand is going crazy, so he's trying to take control of his hand because his hand is now working against him and trying to kill him, so his hand's like grabbing knives and like beating the hell out of him, like hitting him, like his hand is attacking him, so the only thing he can do is take a blade and cut his own hand off.
Is Ash's last name Ketchum by chance?
No, it is not. It's Williams, but
Okay.
That's close.
I would hate.
Yeah. Really
I would
close.
hate to see Ash Williams go out trying to catch some Pokemon because his way of catching Pokemon wouldn't be with a Pokeball. It would be with a chainsaw that he has fashioned into a hand. Yes, he has one hand that he had chopped off, and on the nub he has inserted a gauntlet with a chainsaw on the end of it, and it is amazing. And his other weapon of choice is his double-barreled shotgun, and he got that at
Target.
S-Mart. Actually, it was.
Okay.
He called it his boomstick whenever it was Army of Darkness. The funny that I like the most about Army of Darkness actually takes place in a alternate dimension because in Evil Dead 2. He gets sucked into a portal at the very end of the movie. And in Army of Darkness, it's showing what is actually through that portal. And he gets sucked into a different dimension and way back in medieval times.
Huh.
So it is about zombies.
It is about, there is the Necronomicon at that point. Yes, in that movie, the Army of Darkness is actually a horde of zombies that gets summoned by a clone of Ash.
What?
Yes, that popped off of his body and grew into a full-sized human.
So he budded like a fungus.
He like a gremlin.
Ooh, so
Gremlins can do that?
Yeah,
so
like
when you get them wet.
Yeah, like you I'm sorry.
Was you thinking about turning on a gremlin? Is that why you
I did. I'm sorry. And that's why gremlins live loveless marriages. It's just
They're called Mogwai.
Composure. Here we go. Back to the Evil Dead. The Evil Dead and the Evil Dead 2 are very closely related in movies, though. So the Evil Dead was just a much more, limited budget. It was Sam Raimi's, first big step out into making films. And Evil Dead 2 was a little bit more of like a better budgeted retelling of that story with a different ending to tie it into a futuring world.
Well, I think, what do you say? There was 6 years in between the first and second film.
See?
That seems like a while. Or maybe I'm just desensitized to the amount of time it takes to make movies because it feels like they're constantly happening one after another. That's probably it then, right? Because
Probably
6 years between a first and a sequel seems like a while, but this was a low budget.
Yep.
Is it considered one of those like B grade?
It
is entertaining movies.
It is a very the Evil Dead, the original, is a very yeah, it's low budget B grade entertainment, but it's amazing. So I guess that's
it's done so well. It's considered like an A movie just because of that.
Because they remade it in 2013, and they didn't really tell you that they were making it into tying that incident into that universe. They didn't tell you that. It just looked like a complete remake.
Yeah,
and Sam Raimi didn't direct that one, but he had major production credit on there. It was him and Bruce Campbell as well shared production credit on there for helping drive the movie in a specific direction. Mm-hmm. It's much darker, and it shows you kind of what the world would be like if they, if they just focused on the horror aspect of it and not so much on having that slapstick comedy to go along with it. And honestly, it's terrifying.
That's interesting
because I watched it in theaters because I love the Evil Dead series so much, and I used to watch these as a kid because, of course, they would scare me a little bit, but also make me laugh. So it was a good balance. I got a mixed bag, but going into theaters and watching that, I was startled several times, and I'm not talking like jump scares. I'm talking like I'm way too focused on something happening, and then a little thing would happen, and I would just lose my shit. Mm-hmm. But they did a really good job of making it just really dark and foreboding, and everything's like going wrong, and you're just it's just keeps happening and keeps happening and keeps happening. Oh gosh. There's one more too that is not a movie that involves the Evil Dead, but it's a different take on a demonic possession movie again, but just from a more traditional sense of possession, from like a gypsy curse. But it's Sam Raimi's horror movie Drag Me to Hell. So, and that one's actually a very good movie. I mean, it's got really good graphics to it. I mean, especially for when it was like 2009. So it wasn't like a big blockbuster hit, but I promise you it's a good movie if you like, like the gory zombie flick kind of stuff. I mean, it's really cool.
So you can definitely see his influence. Like, of course, I mean, he directed it, but with the new Doctor Strange movie, you can see where these things make sense.
And you look at the way a couple of different things are shot, and by a couple of different things, I mean a majority of the movie. I'm sitting there the whole time, and my wife watched it with me, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like pointing at the screen, and I'm like talking to her, and I'm like, hey, this is her. She's like, shut up. I'm trying to watch a movie, and I'm getting all excited because I'm seeing all these different aspects that I remember seeing in the Evil Dead series in a Marvel movie. Yeah. And it was that's why I think that's one of the reasons why I like the movie so much, is because of Sam Raimi and the direction that he took with it.
The spooky movie that you mentioned, what, Army of Darkness. You said that was the spooky one.
No,
or no.
There's the Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and then Evil Dead. Right. Evil Dead is the spooky one.
Evil Dead is the scary one.
Yes, it's the scary one.
Really interesting that they were like, okay, we'll take away the slapstick stuff and just give you the horror part. And I wonder if that is partly because him as a director, also maybe people going like, well, you couldn't do an actual horror film. Like, all you know how to do is this like slapstick style funny stuff, and him just giving 2 middle fingers going, I'm about to scare the shit out of you. See what I can do.
That is exactly what happened, because the very end of the movie, like after the credits cut, these movies don't have cut scenes. He gave it one. And all it was just a light pan, just slightly enough to, illuminate the front part of Bruce Campbell's face. And he goes, and this is one of his lines from the Evil Dead that he would use all the time. He'd just go, groovy. Because that was the entire intention of that, I believe, was to say like, okay, you had yours, groovy. And it was cool. So if you've never watched those movies, I say, go watch those movies. I think you would enjoy them even if you weren't planning on watching the Doctor Strange movie, just because they are a different style of horror. They are a little bit more slapstick comedy. Also, in this age where they came out back in 1981, your graphics you're going to be getting, claymation is involved with a lot of it, and I absolutely I love it. How gross claymation looks.
Yeah.
Like, I can remember having a dream as a kid. There's this one point to where like this like demonically possessed person's like skin starts to like ooze and look like custardy. And I remember I had dreams that my hands were doing that, like whenever I was a kid. So, I mean, even though it's not like bone chilling, it's just like, just enough mind tweaking to make you think like a little extra on that kind of thing.
Weird.
I mean, I definitely like the slapstick horror because, like, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, so good, and it kind of falls along those lines.
Yeah, Tucker and Dale versus Evil is like the scary movie version of Evil Dead.
Right.
And not scary movie as in a scary movie, as in the scary movie, like the scary movie titled movie.
The parody, the parody movie.
Yeah. Right.
So, we all know what time it is. We are about to, when you hear this is going to be episode 93.
Okay.
And as we often do around here, every 93 episodes of every podcast we do, we do a recap quiz.
Of our own podcast?
Of our own podcast.
I'm going to be the only one.
I don't know anything about our podcast.
I'm going to be the only one.
So you're going to buzz in with the lightsaber sound, which we all know is vroom.
Vroom. Yes, I do know that one. Ding,
so,
ding.
That's not a question.
Vroom, vroom.
The first question is, in the dog breed list in the episode where I gave a list of dog breeds, which dog breed was not really a dog breed that was listed in the list of dog breeds as a dog breed?
Oh, man.
You might as well just vroom yourself on this
vroom,
one.
Alfa Romeo.
Yes, I it was in there.
That's a vehicle.
Yeah,
I know.
You put that
I
in
threw
there.
it in there to see if anybody would notice. What type of orgasm did Gary Busey have on our show?
It was Marcus Vroom. It was Marcus screaming.
No, what type? It was actually in the episode title. Sugar free.
Oh, dang it! I come up with all the titles.
Yeah, exactly. What was the name of the clown that I called on the show?
Wrinkles Vroom. No,
Vroom.
I forgot about him.
Okay.
How can you forget about Wrinkles?
I know.
Because he scares me.
Wrinkles is our 5th best friend.
Vroom. Wrinkles. Point for me.
No.
I did it in order.
Before we knew Frogman was a real thing, how high could our Frogman jump?
Vroom. 50.
Perfect.
Damn, I knew that one.
It's not. We don't know if it's feet. We don't know if it's inches.
Yeah,
He could just
we don't
jump
know if it's
50. He
miles.
could
I thought
jump
he could jump
50.
I thought he
50.
could jump 300.
That was a later
That was
installment.
later.
Oh.
What was the name of the world that we created with Marcus?
Vroom.
Vroom.
Austin Vroomed Testiculio.
Yep.
Dang it.
What did we say that the possession of a ghost by Dora would be called?
Vroom.
Okay.
A thick Mexican baby ghost.
Big Mexican baby space ghost.
Space
You was
ghost.
close enough.
I was close though.
You was close enough. So, what was the heinous thing that Dane and Austin created that I absolutely loathe with every fiber of my being?
Vroom. Malcolm.
No. Booger Corner.
Oh, we didn't create that. There are literally
Y'all
tens
did
of
that.
us out there
Y'all brought
that
this to
choose a corner that you know you're never going to get into, and there's something back there.
And you know what? My door over here behind us, it has gravel that fall into it anyway from walking in from outside.
Yeah.
So that means I can just put boogers over there and you'll never know what you're vacuuming up.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Take that, Tiny.
Ugh. Where is Marcus's pee-pee stored?
Vroom? Cece's?
No.
Pizza?
No. Well, in the episode where Marcus was peeing the whole time, where was his pee-pee stored? In his balls.
I thought that was the
That's
answer,
where
but
it always is.
Yeah, and where it always is.
that wasn't it. I thought that was something like other than reality.
Yeah.
Like I thought we made something
No,
up.
no.
Thought it was a joke.
Are birds real?
Vroom. No.
Correct.
Not anymore. Apparently.
Is Finland real?
Vroom. No.
Perfect. Austin, you're doing so good. The rest of you, you need to do better.
God, I'm doing terrible.
I'm not mad.
so
I'm
bad.
just slightly disappointed. What is the first thing you need to ask a cowboy if you see one in your room in the middle of the night?
Vroom. Are these Wild West times?
No,
Close.
Vroom. Are these cowboy times?
Oh,
Yes.
dadgummit.
Dane is right.
Dang it. Yes. Are these cowboy times?
What was the original sound of canonization?
The original one?
The original one.
Vroom.
Okay.
This.
No.
What?
No.
Was that not it?
That was not it. It was
Oh, the
Oh,
double
it was a
tap.
double tap.
Oh, that's right.
Double
it
tap.
was. It was, Marcus.
Well, then why did we always hit the vroom?
I think just the vibration made it do that.
I feel like you got cheated.
If it-
Yeah, I
I
got
feel like
cheated.
being gaslit right
I
now.
mean, I'll give you half a point for that.
I don't want your half a point. Keep your half a point. I will go research this myself
Okay.
and prove you wrong.
I literally listened to the episode that canonization originated today. So,
I don't know if he's correct.
if a tornado is coming, what does the dirt smell like?
Vroom. Cucumbers.
Cucumbers.
Yeah, Marcus had it
it's
first.
cucumbers.
Yep. You never forget that one.
Okay, this question I don't remember where I was going with this because I was doing the voice to text, so I didn't type it in. But I'm just gonna ask it anyway.
Okay.
We are all what?
Vroom.
Sure.
Grapes. Vroom.
We'll go with it
Vroom.
because I don't know where I was going. Okay.
Cosmic turtle vomit.
Yes, thank you.
That's
That's
it.
exactly what it was.
That is it,
That was where I was
Marcus.
going with it.
Look at that.
Yeah, Marcus gets that point. Marcus, you get 2 points because not
You're
only
just making up
No,
for
no,
his.
not
You're just
only-
making up for the thing.
He's the
no,
DM.
no, not only did he answer the question, he interpreted where I was going when I forgot myself.
I'm just upset because I'm losing, and I'm the one that edits all this shit.
Yep.
Well, edit it to where it sounds like you won.
So in
I can do that.
in episode
Dane gets a point. Dane gets a point. Dane, is that monotone enough? Dane gets a point.
no,
Dang it.
So in episode 41, how tall was the Dommy Mommy?
Vroom. 10-foot tall, Dommy Mommy.
No.
Vroom 9 foot tall.
9
Dommy
foot
Mommy.
tall.
Damn.
We had
Get
a-
that finger down.
We had a
Take
10-foot
two.
tall Dommy Daddy in another episode.
Oh, why?
It was the one where we talked about Underworld.
I even remembered the song except the wrong word.
I know you did good and bad at the same time. What did the guy on the motorcycle get strangled by?
Vroom. A snake.
Yep. Also, I still don't know why he did that.
That's one of my favorite parts of because when I put the heartbeat fading out as Austin's
Yeah.
singing his song.
Oh, it was so good.
I love that. That's so
Yeah,
fun.
that was definitely one of the best things ever. How many bananas tall am I?
At least 12.
You had a vroom, first of all.
Vroom. I
Okay.
don't know. There's no point in me trying to answer this
I
question.
stated it in an episode how many
You know
bananas
how
tall
bad
I am.
my memory is.
I know, but
You know, mine's worse.
I know. That's what makes
don't know
this
about
fun.
that either.
Vroom. 14.
Nope, it was 11.
You did good though, Marcus.
Yeah,
wrong
Marcus
and bad at
was
the
the
same time.
closest, so I was proud of you.
Don't give me a half a point, I swear.
That'll make a
I'm
whole
so
point.
proud of you. Who was Sergeant Stubby?
Vroom.
Vroom.
It was a puppy dog in the war. World War One.
Yes.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, the real life hero dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sergeant Stubby. I feel like I just want to scratch him on the head because he looks like the goodest of boys.
I want to scratch his stub.
Yep.
What? Wasn't he missing legs?
As long
No,
as
Didn't he have
had
no
a,
legs?
He had a stubby tail.
It was his tail?
It was his tail.
Oh,
he
I
had a
thought he
little
had no
nubby tail.
legs.
No, he was.
walking around on little nubs.
Yeah, I thought he was just nubbins.
He was an American bulldog mix, so he had stubby legs and a little stubby tail.
Oh, okay.
What bucket trap?
Vroom.
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yes. Arkansas bucket trap.
TM.
In the episode titled "The Yearly Greased Shearing of My Father," what? What pseudonym was given to Austin's father?
Hell, I don't remember. Fluffy?
No,
What?
Teddy.
Oh my
He's
god.
like a teddy bear because he's a were person.
You interviewed him.
I did, and
And
it
he
was
did not
amazing.
know.
He had no idea. He was just excited to answer questions about himself.
No, he really was.
He's like, you're asking me things about me? I'll tell you more things
Yeah.
about me.
He's like, I don't even care if it's the most obscure, random things in the world.
Austin's only got 4 points.
Yep.
And Dane's got 10.
Yep.
He's just
What?
kept-
What two tubes? Two?
Vroom! Vroom! Yogurt,
Yogurt
tube,
steak.
steak tube.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a yogurt tube and a steak tube in their throat, and you don't want to get them mixed up, or you
Yeah.
end up coughing up.
So many bad things happen. I've done it. It hurts. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
We have time for one more self-masturbatory question.
What does Batman accept into his heart at one point when
Vroom.
The Joker.
Joker.
yeah, because the Batman who laughs.
Yes.
That was off the dome.
What history we have.
I know, such
What
large,
vibrant,
expansive history.
strange, weird history.
I think we can jump more than 50 now. Marcus, jump.
We're jumping to space.
Yes!
Too high!
That's way more than 50.
It's one of the like flagship things of nerds. We talk about like spaceships, right?
Yes.
It's like kind of so stereotypical that we're going to do it.
yes.
Spaceships are cool, man.
They are. And I want to talk about the coolest ones that have kind of influenced this modern renaissance of sci-fi and fantasy and all this crazy stuff.
Yes.
Iconic spacecraft, if you will. You know, we'll get to the obvious ones.
Right.
But first, I just kind of want to mention some of these. And if y'all think of some, throw them out there. You're not going to spoil Well, stay away from the Star Wars ones. Those are the last ones.
Yeah.
This one, I guess the first one is just one for me. Like, I really like how this looked in the movie, but it's the mothership from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's just, I don't know, at the end of the movie, it's like got all these lights and stuff, and like it just looks so bizarre and so crazy that it's kind of believable, You see the model of this thing? Like, it's got like a Volkswagen bus. It's got an R2-D2 like stuff inside of him, like a U.S. mailbox and stuff. Like, there's all these inside jokes kind of embedded into the model. But, once it's on screen and it's lit up with all these lights and stuff, it just looks ridiculously crazy.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Richard Dreyfuss in it. They got the carving the Devil's Tower out of mashed potatoes and a bunch of different stuff.
Is it a funny?
No, it's more of like a psychological thriller almost.
Yeah.
But
just kind of his take on the UFO phenomenon, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can you see that?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the best. What's his name? I just can't think
Steven
of it right
Spielberg.
now. There you go. Jeez. You're like friends with George Lucas. I can't think of his name. Everyone knows this guy.
They're buddies.
Everyone knows this guy.
hell, driving towards the Devil's Tower, and every bit of the livestock along the way is all just drop dead.
Yeah. It's weird. Yeah, it's a freaky one. The USS Enterprise.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So
Which one?
Well, really the first one, because it was the earliest.
The saucer with the tail.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. It was in the 60s. It was like a resurfacing of this like kind of storytelling. It was actually the setting of the show. The U.S. Enterprise is the setting.
Oh yeah.
And so it's one of the few that we'll get to on this list that kind of achieve like a character status almost.
One of my favorite episodes took place in the Next Generation, because there's a couple generations of the Enterprise ship in and of itself.
And they have like a 17077D or something. Like
I don't remember the number designations off the top of my head. But in this one particular episode, they separated the command deck, which is the saucer portion, from the habitation deck, which was the down thing with the wings on the back. So they separate them to do this cool thing, and then they have to link them back up together. Because when they did that, my mind went, holy crap, it splits into two ships.
That is pretty
That's
awesome.
cool.
Yeah. Also, like Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of writes about the U.S. Enterprise as the first ever space. I'm going to quote him real quick just because I thought it was a really cool quote. The Enterprise was the first ever spaceship represented in storytelling that was not designed to go from one place to another. It was only designed to explore. It was revolutionary in terms of what we would think space would and should be about. So it's like the fact that it wasn't designed just to get from here to Mars, or it was designed to just explore the cosmos.
Yeah.
Really cool. And Star Trek was like super influential, especially when it comes to television sci-fi, to where you get around to the 70s, late 70s, and you get Battlestar Galactica, which is actually the name of the ship. They call them Battlestars in their lore. So that's like Battlestar Galactica. Like,
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't think I knew that.
I had no
'cause that's a series that I should have seen.
I know,
should
yeah.
have
Well, and they
enjoyed
even
it.
remade it maybe 2004 or so. Basically, the synopsis is Battlestar Galactica is the only survivor of the ships that were on this planet, part of the 12 colonies of man. And they go through space trying to seek out this mythological 13th colony that may exist on this mythological planet called Earth.
Cool.
Yeah, so they're kind of trying to rediscover the origins of humanity on the Battlestar Galactica.
Did the Firefly make your list?
It did.
Ooh.
It did. What would you like to say about that one?
I mean, it's one of my favorite ships. It's a rust bucket clapped out shit box, but it's got a really cool look, and everything involved with it just it's money.
That's another one on my list that kind of achieves a character status in itself.
Sure. Absolutely.
I've not personally experienced that, so y'all should probably talk about that.
That's whenever you said you were going to be doing this topic, that was one of the first ones that popped into my head beyond the obvious.
Right.
I was just
I'm sorry.
trying
The
to,
ship is called the Serenity.
The Serenity,
It is
yeah.
a Firefly class.
Right.
I can't believe I messed that
and
up.
Firefly, there you go.
I
You are
deserve that.
forgiven. Yeah, Firefly being the name of the show and Serenity being the name of the movie.
Got you.
And yes, Serenity is the name of the ship. Firefly is the type of ship.
Gotcha. So what makes it special? Like because you kind of talked about it fondly. Because like me, I've never seen it. I collected this list, but I've never seen the show.
Okay, have you ever seen a high point handgun? It is like the high point of spaceships. It's a fat, clunky pig that's falling all to pieces.
See, to me, it was like in a cowboy's time, cowboy story. The horse, like,
Yes.
and with Firefly being a show that's like basically a space cowboy, the ship was kind of their horse, amongst the stars.
Yeah.
So I kind of saw it as that kind of character almost.
Like a horse character.
Yeah, and it would screw up on them and stuff. So it did have that character. It didn't just always do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
There was stuff that messed up on it. So
That's beautiful.
It would
That's great.
drive story sometimes. So
Yeah.
I think that's what it was for me.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and in the movie, which spoiler fart, please. Nice. River like bonds with the ship almost like mind to computer.
Cool.
It's really cool because of all the experiments and stuff done on her.
That's really neat. For me, when I was young, seeing Independence Day was always
Oh yeah.
kind of crazy.
Oh,
Just-
it's like I've got to get me one of these ships.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that
yeah.
would, but really for me, I think it's the ones that hover over the earth, like the ones that you see through the cloud, just their massive forms and their shadows and and then the blasts that they would,
the
Yes.
stereotypical UFO shape. It's like the classic shape, but on a much larger scale.
Yeah. Right.
Like
It's-
the stuff that we've seen has probably been those ships, just a glimpse of them way on off somewhere, and people thought they were really close. Because once they actually get up close to you, I mean, they're the size of entire cities.
Yeah.
Insane.
Right. Discovery 1 from one of my favorite sci-fi films, 2001: A Space Odyssey. So this one is basically just like taking, like they designed it from with NASA kind of, but extrapolated into the future. It's actually one of the earliest known that I know of representations of like a tablet, like an iPad that they have on this, and they have like the gravity is being produced by the rotations of it. It's very trying to go for a very realistic spacecraft from what they could understand at the time, projected into the future to 2001. And it also is equipped with this artificial intelligence named HAL 9000, who is a huge character. So, I mean, he's pretty much the ship. He achieves character status in that way. I don't know. 2001: Space Odyssey. It's a great movie if y'all have not ever seen it.
That's another one of those classics that I still have yet to
Yeah,
see.
Stanley Kubrick. I mean,
I attempted to watch it once, and the only part I remember is this dude like in this wide tube, and he's just like spinning in a circle.
yeah.
And I was like, I don't remember much dialogue from
There's
the movie.
not much dialogue
and
in the
I'm just-
movie.
I don't know.
It's a strange one. It's a
Well-
it's a strange movie.
Well, I was a young man when I attempted to watch it, so now that I'm an old man,
yeah.
I might be able to handle it.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool one. It kind of starts with like a discovery on the moon, and they found this like monolith type. It just looks like this black rectangular monolith. But it's funny. I want to do a topic on this one day because Stanley Kubrick. There's like this conspiracy that he helped film some of the moon landing footage,
Oh, that's funny.
and he also made this movie. He also made a movie called like Eyes Wide Shut, which it's this conspiracy stuff. It made me think that
That's
it would
cool.
be a cool topic one day.
Yeah.
I don't know if it will be. I'll look into it. The Borg Cube.
Oh yeah, real cool.
Borg Cube. Just this massive cube. This is a Star Trek ship.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. Just the fact that it's a cube is scary.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but
it
I don't
looks-
like it.
It looks so electronic.
It looks like a torture
Yeah,
chamber. or
it's a
something.
square, and it looks like there's wires and tubes and stuff all over the outside, but it still maintains that perfect square. And they're so integrated with it that they're almost part of the ship too. That's why they're like, you must be assimilated.
Yeah, and resistance is futile.
It's so cool.
Yeah, very menacing. The TARDIS.
Yes, that was
Yay.
just
Yeah,
in
that's a
my
cool one,
head.
dude.
When you said cube, I was like, ooh, next I want to
I
say
literally
the
didn't
TARDIS.
write anything down beside TARDIS because I figured that you would all have something to say about the TARDIS.
Bigger on the inside.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the more unique spaceships on the list for sure.
It looks like a blue police box
Do we
in England.
even know what a police box is?
It is a booth where you got to run in and call the police
Or you,
hide inside of it.
or you run into it and it turns out it's a spaceship. And
Yeah, and you were like, whoa, it's so big in here.
and then you're on a trip with this crazy lunatic time traveler for the next 12 to 24 episodes.
Hey, he went through time and space.
Well, yeah, that's true.
The Endurance from Interstellar, it much in the vein of the Kubrick kind of film. It's kind of his take on that kind of a movie. Probably a lot more satisfying to modern audiences than 2001, but I like weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of more of a realistic, again, projecting into the future and also adding in some wormhole stuff because it can't travel faster than light. But it does have like agriculture, recycling, and like suspended animation features on it. The Nostromo, which is, I don't know, maybe I'm saying that wrong, but it's the one from Alien.
Oh,
okay. I was like, man, that sounds so familiar.
Yes. So it's a commercial hauler that's sent to, and they can do hypersleep, because it takes a long time to get, but they're actually sent to explore another spacecraft called the Derelict. And that's the one where they actually find the xenomorph eggs and the fossilized architect before they were like redesigned for the movie Prometheus.
there's one that I don't know. I doubt anybody thought about this as like a spaceship or anything to kind of mention, but I always liked Old Bessie, the Planet Express ship from Futurama.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Because
really good one.
because the ship, it met all expectations plus some. At one point, it was sentient and fell in love with Bender.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that episode.
So it was personified as an artificial intelligence when it got its upgrade, and then it fell in love with Bender, and then the romance, and then the drama, and everything else that was involved. It also is one of the only ones that I think that I've seen that turned from spaceship into submarine accidentally. Because they said this is made to withstand the pressures of outer space. Oh well, how much water can it keep out? None. So they were shocked whenever they were able to actually get to the bottom of the ocean and then discover the Atlanteans, which are just actually the sunken city of Atlanta.
Yeah. So good.
All the mermaids down there were speaking Southern Belle.
Yeah, a show that's, I would say, more recently popular, The Expanse on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
The Rocinante is the ship on there, or the Rossi, as they call it, the crewmates call it. And it's so known, like it's their symbol, like this crew, because they've done these insane things that have everyone on Mars, Earth, and what's called the belt, the asteroid belt in between the two, like talking about them. And how they've somehow pissed off everybody by doing things that probably are for the best for everyone. But yeah, their ship is like a symbol of almost like this freedom or a connection of peoples, and that's really it's like its own character in the show as well. Because as soon as they go outside that ship, just the way their little miniguns, their turrets on the outside of it shoot and everything, it's much different from any of the other ships you see and stuff too.
The Hunter Gratzner from Pitch Black.
Cool.
Because it's very cool. It's like made in these little pods, and I don't know, it's really cool just how it all sets up. Most people probably wouldn't think of that one.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously we get to the Star Wars ones, like
The Star Wars.
literally the most iconic ones: the Millennium Falcon, the Blockade Runner, the Y-wing, the A-wing, the X-wing, the Death Star.
And
I mean, there's so many more, but I mean, do we really want to exhaust all those, or do we want to make our own, or I don't know.
One that I messed up and called it a bongo because I messed up with the J-Type 327 Nubian Royal Starship.
Yep.
It looks like a giant space knife just cutting through the galaxy, and I love it.
And some of them are yellow, so they look like bananas.
Specifically made for the Naboo royalty.
I was gonna say, what were you saying?
Well, he just said a knife. The Star Destroyer was kind of dagger-like. They trying to design
For sure.
it kind of like
I
that.
thought it looked more like a cheese wedge.
I think
Cheese is delicious.
when I think of ships that I like know, because there are some ships that you've seen so much of it that you know the ship. Like if you were to be placed on it, you would know your way around. And for me, I think one of those is the Normandy from the Mass Effect series.
Oh, nice.
That ship, because in between missions, you walk around that ship, you go find your crewmates
your
to
hub.
speak with them. Yeah, it's your hub. It's basically your hub world or whatever. And you just get to the point, because at first you want to be able to look at a little map and see where all the stuff is, but then it gets to the point where you just know every inch of that ship, because you travel on it so often. Like you are a person on that ship.
Yeah.
And that's just really cool to me. And it made me like, when playing that game, it was like, I wonder how efficient I would be at creating a ship, because it's like a house that can move, but also store a lot of people and things.
Yeah. And maybe even travel like faster than light.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, well, let me get to my honorable mentions just before we get to this, because it may help us a little bit in trying to make a little bit more creative one, kind of like the TARDIS. Well, I just thought it was funny, the Milano from the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's named after Melissa Milano or Alyssa Milano or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Andromeda from the show Andromeda, starring Kevin Sorbo, Hercules in space.
Yep.
And one of my favorite movies, The Fountain. It is space travel technically, but literally it's just Hugh Jackman in a bubble with a tree.
Yep.
Flying through space, and it causes some just really, really beautiful imagery. It's so beautiful. But I don't know, I just thought it was a really cool take on like a spaceship, the little bubble.
Spaceball 1.
Yep, Spaceball 1, and go ahead and get your other one. The one from the show.
Oh, Lex.
Lex.
Yeah. The big tick in space that's a living organism ship.
I think the Bonanza would be a good name for our ship.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because Backyard Bonanza.
We could have our meetings on that.
Yes.
I think that the ship should have storage, but it should all be very compartmentalized, much like our knowledge.
So, like, the compartment is just a little too small for most things, but it only fits obscure things that we know about.
Yes.
Right?
Like, you're looking for your like something to eat, and then you open up a drawer, and it's nothing but just dehydrated baby carrots. And
And we could all have our own like little space on it.
Little
Our little
blister
grape bubbles of, lily pads where, we don't step on each other. We have our own rooms.
Yeah.
And then the grape sack right in the middle, and we can actually start podcasting from space.
I feel like our rooms could be like pods, kind of like those hotels in Japan, except, bigger to where you can stand up and walk around in it.
Ooh, and those bathrooms that you can see into completely, but then you click a switch and then the walls turn opaque and you can't look through it anymore.
Yeah.
That's what I want it to be too, because I want to be able to see you when I want to see you.
I want to be able to control somebody else's opaqueness of their glass.
Oh, no.
Just to make sure Tiny keeps his ass in his pants. Just keep clicking it. You can't stop it. Click it.
Do you realize how many times you would see me naked if you could control the opaqueness of my pod?
None.
If
That's the point.
If we all lived on a spaceship together, we'd constantly probably see one another naked.
I mean, do we really have to continue this tradition of clothes once we go to space?
Well, it depends. Because if we cook space bacon, just don't cook space bacon, because in space no one can hear you scream.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and all the grease will pop and won't go back down. It'll just float around the chamber.
That would be so bad.
But then we have some of that Matt Damon
Can we
grown
just-
on Mars, and then we're just rolling around, just having little globules of space bacon grease, just eating them, just like Pac-Man. Waka 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 waka
Can
waka.
we
waka.
just have replicators like on the Enterprise for food? It just seems so much better.
We can, except bacon. That's the only thing it won't
Oh,
make.
man.
Because I want to see the opening of our movie is just the ship floating by and the camera seeing inside the portholes of us all screaming in agony. And then so you think we're being attacked, but then the camera gets inside the ship and it's just Tiny cooking bacon, screaming at the top of his lungs, and we're all burned and it's just
because when it
the worst.
splatters, it doesn't just splatter up; it splatters everywhere. So everywhere we are in that area, it's just getting shrapneled with space speed bacon grease.
And we have to keep getting on to Tiny for beaming up the grill because the spaceship's not supposed to have an open flame, Tiny. We could all blow up.
Do you realize how big this ship is? I mean, come on.
Why are
It's
you
well
using
ventilated.
charcoal in an enclosed space? We're going to get carbon monoxide
But
poisoning.
it tastes so good. Also, I just keep picturing like blister packs of chicken nuggies.
Well, yeah.
I mean, how amazing is that? You get like a 24-pack blister pack. You just pop one out. Sauce is already in the little cup.
It's already in the nuggie.
Yeah, it's just in there. It's like a gusher. So it's like a chicken with a gushy inside, which is the condiment that you want. So you're like, I want a blister pack of Polynesian nugs. Boom. Polynesian sauce inside them nugs. Or Chick-fil-A sauce and some nugs, or spicy mustard and some nugs.
I should also have a trampoline.
There's so many condiments.
For nothing. It's just for whenever we might get close enough to a planet, we can still bounce.
Nice.
Moon gravity.
One thing
That's
that
what our landing gear's like, just a giant trampoline.
it's just a moon shoe for the. It's a moon shoe for the. I want to see the ship. Like one of our favorite activities while we're in space is ejecting the toiletry matter from the ship.
Yes.
Whenever we have to purge it, and we just watch it go into space and freeze like a giant just diarrhea trail in space.
I want to aim that port manually so we can like shoot asteroids with our asteroids. How awesome
poop
would
cannon?
that be? Yes.
That ain't no meteorite. That's a big old hunk
And
of
we
poopy.
could put a booger corner in
no.
Thank you.
in the spaceship.
There's going to be 0 corners in the spaceship,
But-
all roundy edges.
But we'll have a recycler. Like we'll recycle the boogers, and that's where the synthetic food will come from.
no.
Oh yes. No, and people
No.
always and they wonder why our baby carrots
Get
are so
out.
salty.
I hope you all consume your boogers the way you've just consumed this episode of Nerd Through the
I
Grapevine.
hate
Thank you
this.
all for listening on iTunes and Spotify and Good Pods. Good Pods is really cool, by the way. Like it's just podcasts, and they're very indie like friendly there. Like there's even a little slider that you can do to just search indie like within their different topics. It's really neat. We're actually in the top 100 of like society and culture right now, which is really cool.
What's that say about
Weird.
society and culture?
Yeah,
I don't know. Very strange
they're getting
things.
sucked into the grapevine.
Yes.
Is what's happening.
So if you're on Good Pods or iTunes or wherever, give us 5 stars, please, because if we're going to travel amongst them, we need as many as possible. So I need 5 stars if you don't mind, and write in the thingy of the why you gave 5 stars, of how much you like us and why you like us. And if you hate us, give us 5 stars and tell people that too. Also, there's a link to the Teespring thing in the description of the episode to where you can go wear us on your body around the street, and people look at you and they go, why is that strange face holding a grape microphone to it? This is unsettling. And then you go, that's okay.
And then if you wanted to wait a minute. Wait,
so dumb.
what just happened? Did you talk about Teespring already? That hurt me.
You're welcome.
My brain lapsed a little bit because I was thinking, like, if you want to discuss the face that Tiny made when he realized that his grapes he was consuming in space in the grape javelin, or what was it called? The bonanza?
Yes.
That were just grapes made out of recycled booger material. If you wanted to talk about what his face is going to look like when he realizes this, get on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Nerd Grapevine. At Nerd Grapevine. If you wanted to donate a little bit to the cause and get a shiny holographic Nerd It Through the Grapevine sticker, you can get on Patreon and look up Best Friends period, Tiny Ink period. You could also unlock content that we have not released yet to anybody and future stuff that will not be released on air. And, just whatever you do, just don't keep trying to pester your friend who's against the booger corner idea, because if so, that might cause them a little bit of...
I hate this with every fiber of my being. Why?
We all got boogers, Tiny.
Boogers belong in tissues and then in trash. Or sometimes if you're in public, you wipe them on the bottom of your shoes and continue to walk, and then it's like they never exist. That's how we do these things. That's what adults do.
If you see me...
Also, find us on Discord. There's so many things on there. There's the Backyard Bonanza. There's a meme channel. There's a Hate on Malcolm Head channel. We're going to stream a movie probably the last Sunday in what is this month? May. In May, it's going to be The Warriors of Virtue. Hopefully, everybody will be there this time. And if not, whoever shows up, we're going to have a rocking good time. It doesn't matter. Feel free to talk during the movie. Let's make fun of it, because let's be honest here, it's not good. Also, on Facebook, we have a new group called Dad's Lawn Wild. Check us out. It was birthed on the last episode of the podcast. It's kind of blew up. It grew real fast. I mean, it's not like huge, but it was still kind of impressive to me.
It's on Twitter,
little
too.
old me, and it's on Twitter.
Yeah, at Dad's Lawn Wild.
Yes. I mean, like the trend right now is to show yourself doing lawn work and say it's a good day for it.
Because it
is a good day
It's a
for
good
it.
day for it.
It's a good day
Yeah.
for it.
I mean, that seems to be the most common thing. Also, we want to see them icy white Lamborghinis, y'all. But anyway, hit us up on Discord. You'll find us live, uncut, uncensored, and irrevocably circumcised.
Okay, Austin Shazam Pfeiffer.
What?
When space gives you grapes.
You don't question where they come from. You just enjoy the nourishment they provide you. Because never on Earth will you ever consume a juicier or saltier grape. Because they
Juiciest.
You want to make them out of boogers? That's gross.
Well,
Booger grapes.
Everybody got boogers. Eat my boogers, tiny.
I mean, sometimes boogers got some
Eat
blood on them.
my boogers, tiny.
Bloody, like them sharp ones that are all the way in your face.
Booger grapes, they taste real good. When you don't have food, you make your boogers food.